He just can't make any money in the company he works for or has been working for now. Well, he can make it, he can't draw it. But that's with their level of business that WWE's doing now. They can pay millions of dollars for guys for limited appearances just because, depending on who they are.
Or they should do the wrong thing with everyone. Here's the schedule. These are the dates I'll be appearing at over the next 6 months if you want to see me. It doesn't matter. A very nice job they did on the tribute and the retirement ceremony for AJ. I just wish they would have actually introduced his former opponents and tag team partners and everything. It would have been cool. Even the current guys like Nakamura and Dragon Lee. It would have been a cool thing.
They should have had Bill Behrens there.
Bill Behrens wouldn't have been simple.
He was AJ's first champion. And he was sold 15 minutes. Yes, but he was championing the cause of AJ Styles from the very beginning. And I guarantee you Bill Behrens can fill up 15 minutes of airtime.
Now, AJ, another guest from your past. This man had you pulled from him by TNA's. They were doing something good for that. Stephen gets hurt next week. Champion. AJ Styles will now be focus on his nutrition. A lot more time to focus on exercise. Amazing seeing the shape of him. A lot more time to focus on eating the right thing. And of course, enjoy our Factor meals. We have great deals for Factor meals to tell everyone about. Why don't we talk about our great friends at Factor?
Well, these are literally meals on wheels because they put them in a truck and they deliver them to you. And unless that truck is actually overgrown, the meal has been on the wheel. But if you're like AJ Styles and you're jetting off here and there in this busy town that you live in where you're flying on a plane and you're checking into a hotel and you're whatever, you don't have time to cook big meals at home, but you still gotta eat smart. Factor can help you because Factor quality, functional ingredients, clean proteins, colorful veggies, all good ingredients and healthy fats, with no refined sugars, no artificial sweeteners, and no refined seed oils. Because that's the problem is, I used to have a lot of linseed oil in the food that I ate. And they told me that I was taking a shellacking because of it. But these are meals that fit your goals and schedule for healthier eating, calorie management, and routine. And folks, right now, if you go to factormeals.com, you will find the incredible rate. It's like going to what do they call that? Not the laundromat, the automat. Like the automat in New York City. Except you're on the website and containing meals to keep things fresh and delicious all year round. You can just punch the fucking button. And you can't lift the window and just eat it right there. They have to put it in a box and send it to you first, but you can get it eventually. And the options include a high protein, calorie smart, Mediterranean diet, GLP-1 support. See, it's not all one. I actually ordered that thinking I'm going to get a wing ding of a meal. They didn't know what to fucking do. Those are all different meals.
They are different meals, and they know what to do.
Well, they didn't know what to do when I wanted it all in the same. They didn't send me a bucket. Said, here, just tie it around your neck.
They don't send out buckets, but back to what you're saying, that's fine.
Yes, the new Muscle Pro collection supports strength and recovery. You sit down and you eat this, and what they do is they send you a 10-pound fork. And therefore, every time you eat one of these dinners, you've done like 30, 40 curls. Just remember to switch hands, or else it look like you jack off.
These meals, they are exercise, so they don't intensity. And it's things that really like this.
And does that mean you can't still jack off if you want to?
Not typically.
It's very much like a frozen. It's not And they're ready in about 2 minutes with the President Express. And you're an aficionado of the salmon. Of course, there's always something fishy about your food choices, but I like the filet and creamy Parmesan cheese. And I can just take the filet on the end of the fork and just linger it around in the creamy Parmesan sauce that went on the shrimp and just dip it, just eat it, and oh, that's good. And right now, you can go to factormeals.com/JCE50 off and use the code JCE50 off to get 50% off. See what they did there? And free breakfast for a year. So once again, JCE50 off the code at factormeals.com for new subscribers only. Now come on, don't be a glutton. Let somebody else have some of the glory. One free breakfast item per box for 1 year while your subscription is active. But again, 50% off your first box and free breakfast for a year. Boy, howdy. Just in, I'll tell you what. I think if you go on a diet where you only eat the calorie smart Factor meals, then you will definitely lose weight. I did not because I liked them so much. I started eating 2 of them at a time. And that wasn't smart for the calories.
We're not making any promises or guarantees, but we're talking about food that we enjoy, food that we look forward to arriving here. And teriyaki salmon is a
I swear to God, I'm smelling food right now. I'm smelling food. Like, at least it's not burnt toast. Good boy, it's making me hungry.
And just mentioning hunger makes me hungry, Chad. We have a great deal of this. There's no way to get to that, so we can take a break and eat some food.
Free for this meal. FactorMeals.com/JCE50 off to get 50% off and free breakfast for a year and smell food 24 hours a day. It'll drive you to the brink of insanity.
You'll be sane and satisfied in terms of your stomach.
Continental Buick GMC needs your vehicle. During our Drive to Win sales event, get $3,000 guaranteed for your 2007 or newer trade and unlock these gold medal lease deals. Lease a GMC Sierra double cab for only $169 a month, or lease Buick Encore GX for just $269 a month, or lease a GMC Terrain for only $279 a month. Don't miss our Drive to Win sales event and these gold medal lease offers. West Michigan. Visit us on 28th Street in Grand Rapids or shop time.
Being, yes.
They found
Now are you gonna finish it?
Jingles like that, I'm not exactly sure why the business didn't work out. But Jim, back to Power Town. We've been talking about their trials and tribulations and everything, and just recently, in fact, their emails are bouncing back. It was breaking on this unexpectedly. No one's received any money or figures. It's happening.
Yeah, he was the big talking guy that expert for me. It was behind the driving force behind this whole thing started. What was he got to say for himself?
Our plan is to be first to come off of this. Town. Any thought about Town means people complaining about Town. Responding to someone named Craig. The 4 emoji eyebrows. And is not, also in caps, going out of business. We understand the implications assumed by our lack of updates. Which decision rendered today are a tariffs. Even if the year ended, terrorists, benefits, running rentals,
They had said, these tariffs, the tariffs. Okay, they took in thousands and thousands of dollars from people. So, unless they were stupid business people and going to sell the figures for basically the same thing as they were paying for them, they had a markup, they had a profit margin. A 20% tariff comes in, you can do something about it quicker than a year or 2 years. Like, okay, let's just go ahead and not make the 20% we were going to make, but at least give these people their shit.
Yeah, by the way, they didn't know the Supreme Court was going to rule on this.
This predates the idea that tariffs were going to be a thing. They were starting this deal in 2021. And then tariffs just became a thing when pig shit became president again, started going off. And I heard that from Figures Toy Company one time. That we were trying to get everything that in the way of the figures that we were working on done and on the boat before the Chinese New Year. I said, why? They shut down like 2 or 3 weeks and nothing would happen. Okay. They've been working on last year's Chinese New Year. If the Chinese New Year was fucking cause of all these delays. It's just everything. If they were experienced in any part of this, as Steve Rosenthal was, or supposed to be, they would have known that many of these things might take place. It would have been easier or quicker than 2 years or 3 years or whatever.
We're engaging. Steve Rosenthal been on call. After this sign up for people he kind of calling down, he's saying, the Chinese New Year was ended, the tariffs have been rendered in some form to be illegal.
He didn't drive this car often anyway.
You're talking about they will not get to on the boat. They will not get them paid. That's what he said, you know. Something for me to do. Here's the date. That's the first the next this ain't to realize the fucking do. And it wants to be those things. The entire That's what we did. He's fucking over at parties and 75 guys and he's speaking in all lyrics. In camps, being to getting in miracles. Like, people are most Catholics, anyway. So, you're a passionate bitch. They roast the image of this fucking just a character, Steve. And it's just basically him asking for Steve and asking for almost 2024. Jesus. She's the worst. Can't even take $8,000 to pay this guy whose wife has to have surgery. When you're allegedly headhunt you and this big figure enterprise will take they are a target. And they might be hiding at Walmart. And that's the thing is, I cannot tell you what really fucking on the break cake making this one thinks it's perfect, Greg.
Go potty, buddy.
You can understand. Stanley, but it is concrete. Myself are not interested in this all because the arrangement that we have, we can do it all. We can make money eventually for ourselves and you can make us with this deal. You can at least take out the staff. What? No, really, it starts. Really? Okay. But the average member of the population is going to wake up one morning and say, I think I'll go to Walmart and get my Dennis Connery figure. Whereas we have the platform here also to sell our thing and do our thing. So that's what we are going to do is our thing. And you do the other thing. Hey, our artists. Well, yeah, that's the that's got an update. So, the head of the company is the radio silence, and everyone will get what you paid for, and then you obviously get more work on the packaging for what we're supposed to get. So, he has nothing. Which goes along with Jordan Gray saying she didn't get shit, which goes along with Brady Morton's son saying they didn't get shit. Which goes along with the guy breaking his silence, coming out and saying you're going to get everything, and I understand why that my silence may have been off-putting and then goes silent again. Well, we will stay on top of the story until the arrests are made. But Jim, why don't we talk about some retro wrestling figures today? They're going on my desk. My favorite one right here, we got to start with this. From Latuni, it's the Antonio Inoki LJN style rubber figure, and this thing is gorgeous. They've got the right chin, elegant jaw. It's like the classic 70s hairdo and sideburns. Red towel. I was about to ask about the towel. Electrons, black boots. Its arms are like the regular LJNs, and if you press a button here, it blames shin. No. It's actually a very, very nice figure. Finally, an Antonio Inoki LJN style. Unfortunately, I believe that Antonio is so mad at this. Well, then now you're just milking us. AJ, if you get any more in stock, let us know, and maybe we can do something for the listeners. But yeah, these are, I didn't expect it to sell, but apparently Antonio Inoki figures have become quite popular in that year. What is that? Again, you killed something over our head that we're not going to be able to. And does it Chipwright will play the theme music, so are we going to have to hear that now, or is that still just a feature of the keychain? It's still just a feature of the keychain, which is buried on the other side of the desk right now. Playing baseball cards, so we can't get to it. So we're going to play under a foot. It's a big part of their giants. Many other companies can get these figures to the fans that Get in here and see that it is. Figure this one. You never see green and red.
Yes, he lived the unexplored era of the great. He went to Mexico because Vince wouldn't move him because he was afraid he would get parade.
He was working for he was still key down there, wasn't he?
I think, yes, they did. They crossed paths briefly. A tall as president and a black as president.
He heard it says, John Flavors. They've been these before. So once again, figure collections. The business. The variable of the giants. Listen to the next ones. Please make any comments.
Okay.
There's a line of toys I really like. Bring all figures. It's not that it sounds like it's just a misconnect.
I read some figures.
Those are different figures here. But I don't know if I can prove them. They're really, really cool. And if you're the guy who makes them, maybe if you want me to publicly say you're making these, the biggest wrestling podcast in history, I just want to make sure before I do it because
You think that's some under the table kind of stuff? That old the floozy from Denver didn't want her figure made.
I think
Was this is kind of a reverse plaster caster business where one of the boys in the 80s was plaster casting the rats so that we could make action figures and there was a reverse business that the designs is there a coat grip? Is there a neck that follows up and down and down?
How much attention you want.
If you're the guy behind the rats, let me know. We got some business for you, and we might even tell others.
Jim, moving on here. KWK, the Kayfabe Heroes timeline. We mentioned these were coming up. I finally got them in hand. Well done. There are 3 variants, black and purple, pink and black, and blue.
These blue and yellow and pink. And that many times when they worked in Smoky Mountain Wrestling. Timothy Will and Stephen Dunn. They were well done.
They got a fair shake. They had a chance to share.
Yeah, I think they were really only medium rare. They didn't get cooked all the way. I think both of them were. It was a problem of the territories going away. Both of them were talented enough to be high on the card in a variety of the territories, but they were not going to go to the top in the WWF at the time or WCW. Right? But they were a good middle card tag team of heels that knew how to work and how to get baby faces shit across.
Well, again, here they are, and you can remove their heads if you want to get the blue ties.
And that may have helped their careers in Rex King's case at least, but
Because they
and then maybe just transplant somebody else's head over. And
was Rex King's the
anyway, it was not the brains of the organization.
Our next figure here from Figure Collections Wrestles Favorite Wrestlers. Calling it Brian Adams. So the Brian Adams in his classic crutch gear. They don't call him crutch. So it's enough to avoid Any potential lawsuits?
Because at one point he was Kona Crush. When he was no longer a demolitionist, but instead was a guy that hung out in Hawaii waiting for fucking weed deals.
Last time we saw him on TV as kids, he was the third member of Demolition, all painted up, and eventually they got rid of Axe, and it was just him and Smash. The next time we see him, he's like on a beach like, shut up, man. That's what you call him. Where did this come from? You were all the metal and leather the other time I saw you. A Kona Crush. Any thoughts on Brian Johnson specifically?
Things that he got in trouble for. But go ahead.
What are your thoughts on the finishing maneuver of the Crush, where you just squeeze the guy's head from both sides?
To be honest, I thought it was genius for, like, Plowboy Frazier, because it was a way for him to do something without actually doing anything. What Brian Adams could do for his size of a few different things, so that's probably one of the last finishes I would have given him. Even if he was strong, it was also boring. But I'm trying to remember now, what was it, drugs or guns, that the authorities claimed that he had too many of?
Was it both?
Well, that's what I'm asking you, because you're the quick on the Google drawer.
Hold on,
But it was right about that time that he was living in Hawaii for real. And I guess they were trying to give him a realistic gimmick, and Kona Crush came up, but then I think, isn't that what derailed Kona Crush, was getting arrested?
Let's see. The Turkey of the late 93 against Randy Savage. That's what I remember. That's when he wrestled WrestleMania.
That's right. WrestleMania 8. I didn't even see it like around there.
If you're interested in the channel, man, which is back in June 96. And the channel.
Because when he came back in 96, he moved into a member of the BOA. And,
team 1995, Collins was arrested as defense officer searches on the discovered 500 units of anabolic steroids without prescriptions and several registered firearms. Sentenced to 5 years remaining, including no contest for 11 counts of drugs and weapon charges. There you go.
Yeah, that kind of made Kona Crush not for some of the for a little bit.
Legends of the Mariner, Flipping Slow Toys, the Rappers and Gimmick Slowing. The first ever Hasbro style Salvatore Sincere. And Sonic Randy. Let's talk a little bit about him. What are your thoughts on the Salvatore Sincere gimmick? And Tom Randy was a fan first because in the Wrestling Exchange, which I own the rights to, the great magazine by Gary Mancuso and Gary Campbell, he contributed business. It's like that.
Randy, a kid, good-looking guy. I think he was 3 or 30, a good-looking Italian fellow. The dark-haired Dennis Corluzzo used to love to use him on shows up there. He's from he was from the New Jersey, New York area. And probably Pennsylvania. Yeah, same thing. Just a little bit to the other direction. But he was the only guy that prospered. When Vince went on that binge of giving everybody that we brought in for that little deal horrible gimmicks, because they were complaining, Vince was, especially, our roster is thin, we need more matchups for television. So, yes, you need to sign some more main event superstars, but we could just bring in some guys that can work to put our regular guys over on TV instead of using the job guys that are dish rags, and just have a little upgrade. And out of all of them, there's Tracy Smothers, Tony Anthony, Bill Irwin, fucking variety of guys. Tom Randy benefited from that, because Sal Sincere was a better gimmick than just poor old Tom Brandy. And of course, it was over the top and silly like they all were at that point in time. But at least Tom took it and ran with it. He wasn't embarrassed or ashamed of it like the rest of the guys were. He liked a big fucking, it was, as I remember, pink and red jacket and a big hat, and he's Italian, and the dogs are like that. And he worked his acts and his matches. He worked hard and tried to do the best he could with it. And so at least he got some element of the gimmick that he could use in other places where those guys, they hated that and once their run was over, they never wanted to do those gimmicks again. So he was the best one out of the bunch.
Just a real story. Did he buy the Patriots gimmick, or he bought the rights to it, or did he not buy it at all and just told people, you know what I'm talking about? It was
I remember, I can't remember the details, but I don't understand how he could have ever bought the Patriot gimmick because we can find that from Jerry Lawler. Yes, Dylan Wilkes was there. Dylan Wilkes was the Patriot that everybody thinks of. But Jerry Lawler did a comic strip about Lance. Big Brown was the Patriot in the 90s. So, I just afraid always do something that they get great. And to still, that might be legal battle for the comic strip. With it, you know, do you want the character, or do you just know that would appear in the magazine that you want to or as the originator, you're supposed to know the character? This book was fascinating by then. It was just in the next shift fun for the magazine. But then Dell took it everywhere else and established it.
The first time I saw that was Jim Football, 1992, late 92. I guess the story is that Clutch just took his photo to all the female secretaries in the office. Like, you think this guy's handsome? They like this guy? And then hire him. And he was like the guy, I didn't know they were called Mullins yet. I didn't know he was the guy who was called Mullins. And I saw him. Look at that size. Listen, something like that.
He was the trooper. Was he? Dell started, since he was from South Carolina, he actually got working in originally. And he was, they called him the Snake Trooper, just the trooper. I can think of Big Macy and fucking Big Parker with the snakes. They were the Snake Patrol. Dylan was the trooper.
He was the trooper in the AWAs. The AWAs down. And then he became the Patrol.
Guess what? He was trying to find the girl.
There it is.
Where is this?
Retro Creations. That's where they collect wrestling creations.
Okay, first of all, that's brilliant. That's actually genius. And second of all, can y'all make your name any harder?
It is a intro that looks just like the set from the classic 1986 Superstars of Wrestling, and you can use your vintage and retro figures to recreate classic moments from Adrian Adonis's talk show. From Recollect Retro Creations, this is so fucking cool. And there is
Adrian Adonis, I just have to say, Adrian Adonis, one of the better in-ring workers physically at one point in the wrestling business, and then ended up 400 pounds doing a segment called The Flower Shop and looking like fucking Betty Davis in the closing scenes of Whatever Happened to Baby Jane, and made more money doing that.
There was something like very disturbing about it. It wasn't even just like, hey, they gave him a gimmick as being like this flamboyant gay character out of nowhere. There was something about him, like him having that gimmick, and him before that gimmick, and just there was like a nastiness or some kind of weird vibe you would get off him. And like he was wrestling.
And I think because he probably was so disgusted with what he was being made to do that he just went all the way with it and became as disgusting as possible.
You know, a few months back, WWE and Mattel put out a Piper's Pit playset. And it came with a Piper and an Orndorff and a Bob Orton. And the Bob Orton had an optional pink hat. From when he was all of a sudden Adrian Adonis' bodyguard on the Flower Shop against Piper's Pit. Well, there it is, retro figures, and of course, if you want some Jim Cornette figures, they're available right now at Cornette's Collectibles at JimCornette.com.
And Midnight Express figures, while they last, are available as well, and at the lowest prices they've ever been offered. We've extended our holiday sale for the first part of 2026.
Well, Jim, we talked about retro figures, we talked about Power Town, but some people need some help with power. Some people need more power. They
Get Best Buy if you want to associate with people out in the world, or you can
He's got a bathroom, please.
at Ridge.com or IDG.com and use the promo code JCE at checkout, 10% off, and you're all set. Tell them that you heard about it here, and then plug all your stuff in there. You'll be watching a TV, you'll be talking on the phone, you'll be reading a Kindle, you've got a vibrating butt plug right up your sphincter, and it's all thanks to the Ridge Power Bank.
All right. Well, there it is. Ridge. We love him here in this house. Someone's running something. Thank you. What are you doing, Ridge? All right. Well, Ridge, again, great wallets and great power bank here. The Ridge, where did I put it? I just had it.
If only the wallet needed power, then you could plug the wallet into the fucking power bank, and then the wallet would have extraordinary powers far beyond the common ordinary household man.
One more time, Jim, that promo code for the Ridge Magnetic Power Bank.
Ridge.com/JCE.
Continental Buick GMC needs your vehicle. During our Drive to Win sales event, get $3,000 guaranteed for your 2007 or newer trade and unlock these gold medal lease deals. Lease a GMC Sierra double cab for only $169 a month. Or lease Buick Encore GX for just $269 a month. Or lease a GMC Terrain for only $279 a month. Don't miss our Drive to Win sales event and these gold medal lease offers from the largest Buick GMC dealer in West Michigan. Visit us on 28th Street in Grand Rapids or shop ToddWinslow.com.
All right. Jim, let's get a few questions and a few topics and get the hell out of here. I have a question here sent via the Cult of Cornette Facebook group by Kane Michael. I have some questions about MSG.
Wait a minute. Sir. It seems like it would be Michael Caine. Well, this actually is Phil.
This man's name is Kane Michael. I have some questions about MSG's 1996 Survivor Series pay-per-view.